Barcelona, Spain. March 24, 2015. Germanwings Flight 9525 is an Airbus A320 preparing to perform a regular passenger flight from Barcelona, Spain, to Dusseldorf, Germany. The flight is operated by Germanwings, a low-cost carrier owned by the German airline Lufthansa. During this flight, the aircraft is carrying 144 passengers and 6 crew members, 2 pilots and 4 cabin crew from at least 18 countries, mostly Germany and Spain. The Airbus sat at the gate for 26 minutes past its scheduled departure time of 9:35. Then it taxied to the runway and took off, rising over the city and banking gently toward the Mediterranean Sea. From the cockpit, Captain Patrick Sondenheimer, a veteran with 6,000 hours in the air, apologizes for the delay.
We apologize for the delay, and we'll try to make up the lost time.
At one point, Sondenheimer mentions to his co-pilot, Andreas Lubitz, that he forgot to go to the bathroom.
Oh, I forgot to go to the bathroom before we boarded.
Go anytime.
Andreas Gunter Lubitz, a 27-year-old pilot, joined Germanwings in September 2013 with 630 flying hours, mostly on the Airbus A320. Growing up in Montabaur, Germany, Lubitz nurtured a deep passion for aviation. He adorned his bedroom with aircraft posters and honed his skills in glider piloting. Graduating in 2007, Lubitz excelled in orderliness, ranking 3rd among his classmates. He promptly applied to the company's flight academy and was accepted in 2008, fulfilling his long-cherished dream of becoming a pilot. However, early on in his career, Andreas faced unexpected obstacles. After only a few months at the Lufthansa Flight Training Pilot School in Bremen, he made the decision to withdraw and return home. A Montabaur psychiatrist diagnosed him with a deep depressive episode, accompanied by suicidal thoughts. Lubitz underwent intensive psychotherapy and was prescribed potent antidepressants, namely Cipralex and mirtazapine. The psychiatrist attributed his breakdown in part to the changes in his living situation and being separated from his family. Following his treatment, German aviation authorities reinstated Lubitz's student pilot's license and medical certificate, but with the addition of a requirement for specific regular examination noted in his records. Continuing psychiatric treatment or additional medication would result in Lubitz being grounded, which would probably mean the end of his flying career. Unfortunately, Lubitz's mental well-being was short-lived. Recurrence is common in major depressive disorder, affecting many men, and Lubitz experienced a relapse around Christmas 2014. Initially, he displayed psychosomatic symptoms, fearing he might lose his vision. Seeking regular appointments with ophthalmologists and neurologists, Lubitz reported various visual disturbances, accompanied by fear and sensitivity to light. While maintaining his regular work and flight schedule, Lubitz resumed psychotherapy and continued taking mirtazapine and lorazepam. However, by early March 2015, he became consumed by thoughts of death, prompting him to search the internet for efficient suicide methods such as carbon monoxide, drinking gasoline, and painless poisons. On March 18th, a Dusseldorf physician issued a sick leave note attributing Lubitz's absence to an undetermined persistent vision disorder, granting him a 4-day break. 2 days later, while at home, Lubitz devised a plan centered around the locking mechanism of an Airbus A320 cockpit door. During a previous flight, he briefly adjusted the autopilot to 100 feet, conducting a test without raising the suspicion of air traffic controllers. Determined, Lubitz was now prepared to carry out his plan. It is 10:27 a.m.
Begin preparing for the landing. I'll step away for a few minutes.
Hopefully, we'll see.
It's unclear if Sondenheimer noticed his co-pilot's odd language, but he says nothing in response. A minute later, Sondenheimer pushes his seat back, opens the cockpit door, closes it behind him, and ducks into the lavatory. It is 10:30 a.m. Alone in the cockpit, Lubitz immediately puts his plan into action. He moves the cockpit door toggle switch, located on a pedestal to the left of his seat, from the normal to locked position, disabling Sondenheimer's emergency access code. Moments later, he reaches forward and turns the dial on the autopilot to bring the plane down to 100 feet. Just before 10:31 a.m., after crossing the French coast near Toulon, the aircraft leaves its cruising altitude and begins dropping at a rate of 3,500 feet per minute, or 58 feet per second. At this point, the passengers probably sense a slight dip and a change in pressure, though it's doubtful that it causes any concern. But French air traffic controllers notice the unauthorized change and contact the aircraft. Lubitz doesn't reply. Sondenheimer returns 3 minutes later. On a keypad outside the cockpit, he punches in his access code, then hits the pound sign. Access denied.
It's me. Open up.
A closed-circuit camera transmits the captain's image to a small television screen inside the cockpit. Lubitz doesn't react. Alarmed, Sondenheimer starts hammering on the door. Still, Lubitz doesn't respond.
For the love of God, open this door.
The plane is at about 25,000 feet. Passengers, feeling the steep decline now and gripped by the first wave of panic, begin leaving their seats and moving through the aisles. At 10:39, Sondenheimer calls for a flight attendant to bring him a crowbar hidden in the back of the plane. Grabbing the steel rod, the pilot begins smashing the door, then trying to pry and bend it open. The plane is dropping below 10,000 feet, the snow-encrusted Alps looming closer. Inside the cockpit, Lubitz places an oxygen mask over his face.
Open this fucking door.
Sondenheimer screams as passengers stare in bewilderment and mounting terror. Lubitz breathes calmly. At 10:40, a ground proximity warning system goes off.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
The plane dips to 7,000 feet. 60 seconds later, the Airbus's right wing clips the mountainside at 5,000 feet. Moments later, the jet slams into the mountain at 403 miles per hour. The notation on Lubitz's medical records required Lufthansa's Aeromedical Center to examine him regularly for depression. But it remains unclear how often Lubitz was required to report to Lufthansa doctors and how thoroughly he was examined. The official report stated, the collision with the ground was due to the deliberate and planned action of the co-pilot, who decided to commit suicide while alone in the cockpit. The process for medical certification of pilots, in particular self-reporting in case of a decrease in medical fitness between two periodic medical evaluations, did not succeed in preventing the co-pilot, who was experiencing a mental disorder with psychotic symptoms, from exercising the privilege of his license. After this plane crash, which perished 150 people, Lufthansa introduced a new policy across its airlines requiring the presence of 2 crew members in the cockpit at all times.